All right, we are back here on the podcast. Sky Guys continuing their revisiting Mandalorian season one. They're covering chapter two, The Child. One of your hosts, Mike Phillips. With me, as always, the man whose voice generation every single week. Pete Consadori is here. Pete, how are you?
We're back for episode two, chapter two. Very glad to be here. Always excited to talk about Mandalorian and Star Wars. So yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys thought.
Yep, also here with us, our trusty Jawa negotiator, Nick Fraietta is here. Nick, how are you?
Doing fantastic. Very excited to talk chapter two of The Mandalorian with the Sky Guys today.
Yep, and also with us here today, we promised a guest last week. We brought one in, one of our favorite guests coming in here from Tatooine. It looks like Vin Gallo with us. Vin, how are you?
Good, Mike. Thanks for having me again. I was excited to revisit this episode. There's a lot that I forgot, and thanks for having me on.
Hey, thanks for coming on here. How's everything going on your end? We haven't heard from you in a minute.
Everything's good. Everything's good. Yeah. Enjoying the Florida weather. Heading up to New York in a few weeks. So yeah, all good.
Absolutely glad to hear that. And Pete, if you want subscribers in the Sky Guys, they can do so Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Spotify, Amazon, all usual suspects. Simply search for the Sky Guys here podcast platforms, five episodes there. And we have another like 6 weeks of the Mandalorian revisited. So make sure you're subscribed so you're locked in for all that.
6 weeks of just content, right? You're missing out if you're not subscribed, so make sure you do so. Make sure you're on the new YouTube as well, Sky Guys Podcast.
Yep. And Nick, if you want to follow us on social media, how can I do that?
At Sky Guys Podcast all over the WWW, the World Wide Web.
Yeah, you can also email us, skyguyspod@gmail.com. You want to send us some written commentary.
Yes.
You can also go to our social media comment of the week here. This is from our TikTok here. This is about Cad Bane's secret son from Tales of the Underworld. Jose commented, I really like Cad Bane's story. The fact they dropped he as a son is insane to me. So, Vin, do you remember familiar with the Cad Bane from the Book of Boba Fett here? Are you surprised he's a secret son?
Nothing surprises me anymore about Star Wars. They'll just keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember him from Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, so Nick, they think I love the Jose use your words. Like, this is insane.
Yeah, I mean you know my opinion on this. This is like classic Star Wars. I wasn't surprised at all.
Yeah. Yeah, and our buddies on TikTok who you were called out, Leslie, could not respond to their call outs, so you got time on that.
Yeah, then I said that it was very classic Star Wars that in Andor they gave Cassian a son in like the last episode, like like not off screen, like the one that he'll never meet, I guess is the point I'm looking for. And the person commented and said that's not a very Star Wars thing to do. And then less than a month later, we got another one of a son, Cad Bane. So in
Yeah,
my opinion, it is very Star Wars thing to do is to have the child at the end there.
yeah, of course. I mean, all started with Luke and Leia. So it's very classic
Yeah,
Star Wars. I don't know what those people are talking about.
The OG Secret Kids.
right.
Exactly.
All right, let's go to the Star Wars news here. And Nick, very light week this week, but one involving your favorite video game.
Very, very light. Not my favorite game, but Ubisoft blames that Star Wars Outlaws' disappointing sales, claiming that the brand it belongs to was in a bit of a choppy waters. And honestly, I completely agree. I think that if people gave this game the time of day, they would realize that it's a very fun game and there's a lot to do and a huge open world. There are four open worlds, really. There's multiple levels to explore, and people didn't want to play this game because they don't really feel the same way they used to about Star Wars. I firmly believe that.
Okay, devil's advocate here. Correct me if I'm wrong on two things. One, we complained a lot about the price point when this game came out, how they microtransact you to hell on some of the DLC content. And two, it was very buggy when it came out, if I remember correctly.
The price point thing is true, but again, you can just buy the regular version of the game, and it's the same price as every other game.
Yeah.
Like no one's making you buy the expansions, so that is, it's the same as everything else. And the bugs when it came out, I think that's true, but I'll be honest, when I played it, which was maybe a little after it came out, I don't know exactly when I played it, but I didn't really run into many bugs at all.
Yeah, Pete, as one of the gaming guys here, like how you feel about the Ubisoft thoughts on why Outlaws did not work?
Um, I think it's a multiple things. I think that with video games, if you don't have a big name when it comes to characters, right? Especially with Star Wars, it's not like a Jedi. You don't see a lightsaber. People are probably not drawn to it as much as they would if it's like a Battlefront or, a Jedi Fallen Order. That's a theory of mine. Obviously not, you know, it's all speculation. It's just kind of more so what I'm thinking. I also think that the quality of the product at the price point was just not there. Video game graphics have gone up and up and up, and then you see that game, and it just to me was subpar. At least at launch. I haven't seen it since it's been updated. Haven't played much of it, so I'm not really the best judge on that. However, just seeing the facial recognition model and everything like that just seemed very unfinished for a. I think at the time it was a $70 price point for the base game.
Yeah, and Vin, I'll also throw this out. Here's another theory in this one here. Considering the current political environment we live in here, having a Star Wars game with a lead character being a female of color is not exactly like there's a certain segment of the market that will not be touching the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much. I agree with you. There is a certain segment, like no matter what you're gonna polarize people. Yeah, I mean, the problem is there's so many good games out there, and people have such limited time. I feel like unless a game is outstanding, people don't want to dedicate the time to it.
And
I,
Jedi,
I got I got to stop you though because I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean of color? She's white.
according to I think the canon, she's not.
Oh, I mean, she is though.
Oh, whatever. But like that, the deal. But
Maybe the actress wasn't, but
I
she's
don't. I think the actress is not also.
yeah, she was definitely a white woman.
Yeah, even that might even be enough for a certain segment of the population to not buy the game. And
Well,
I'll
we'll
also
see
say,
when the Ghost of Yodi comes out later, because Ghost of Tsushima's sequel has a female lead, and I think people are going to play that. I'm not really sure that's true.
and Jedi Survivor sold a lot of copies, so you can't exactly blame Star Wars for this.
Jedi Survivor, I agree with your point on the Jet. Whoever made that point,
That was Pete.
that the people want to see the Jedi. I completely agree with that. You don't want to play games and know one that you've no a nobody that you haven't heard of who's not a Jedi. I completely agree with that. I think people need to give the game a chance, though. It was a very fun game.
All right, so let's get to the episode here. So, chapter two, the child here. I remember I was correct. I think there was a little side questy element this year. I will say this episode, a lot of fun for the 32 minutes that it was going on here, and I do think one thing I'll throw out the top here, Vin, I'll go to you on this one here. Very interesting that like this episode, we only really had two speaking roles in the whole episode, which was Mandalorian Pedro Pascal and Nick Nolte's Kuiil. The rest of the episode is like face like grunting bounty hunters, Jawas, and Grogu, and still a compelling half hour.
Yeah, I agree. We were chatting before. I remember watching this episode when it first came out. I was like, all right, this show's going to be pretty episodic. And I didn't know how I felt about it until the end of the season. And it's nice to get back to these episodic episodes where they're self-contained. It's a side quest. So I really enjoyed it. Nick Nolte's character, I can't even pronounce it. Kuiil,
Kuiil.
Kuiil. Amazing job. Felt very Western. Felt very Star Wars. Really enjoyed it, and to see the we were talking about this as well. The new race of Jawas or the different race of Jawas that was pretty interesting as well.
Pete, Nick, either you want to add anything on general thoughts on this episode?
I think that if this was an episode of Star Wars Visions,
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me based on how it went. There's barely any dialogue. It's really just, I don't know the word I'm looking for, feels, I guess you could say,
vibes.
vibes, and it just the action. There's not really that much action. I guess there is a little bit towards the end, but the way the episode plays is as if it's an animated episode, and it really like I don't know, it kind of puts it into perspective for me. I always thought that the animated and the live action was very different, but watching this episode, I realized that they're very similar.
Pete, anything you want to add before we go into more details?
Yeah, we'll go into more details, but I think that this episode is saved because of the characters and not because of the content. I feel like if you take this episode and put it with different characters in a different show, i.e., Book of Boba Fett, i.e., Acolyte, i.e., any other show that we've been a little bit overly critical of, we're not terribly happy with this being the second episode after the huge reveal of the child. Um, but we'll talk about it more.
Yeah. Talk about more here. So like we're not gonna go beat by beat because obviously like this episode aired 7 years, 6 years ago at this point. I don't think you've seen this if you've watched Star Wars or watched The Mandalorian here. So I'll throw it out the panel here. Anyone want to throw out anything they want to talk about that's jumped at them from this episode?
The lack of dialogue.
Yeah.
It has to be it.
There's a lot,
There-
it was
There's
all
not. I don't think there was any word spoken in the first 8 to 10 minutes, maybe.
you got a fight scene with no actual dialogue.
Yeah, and I think that makes the episode better. That it was able to be. I don't think this was a fantastic episode, but I think it's pretty good. And the fact that it was able to be pretty good with, as you mentioned, two people speaking, and pretty good with, I don't know, barely any dialogue at all. That speaks volumes to what happens, I guess.
Yeah, Pete, how you feel about that? Because obviously, like this, I think might be the fewest credited roles in an episode of Mandalorian like ever. Because I'm sure everybody else has at least three. So, what do you think about this episode specifically? Like with how little words we got, and what is mostly just actions and vibes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I think Nick's right. I think it makes it better in some aspects. What stuck out to me though is the lack of story. There's maybe a couple points in there that drive the story a little bit forward, but everything else is very just in the moment and not needed. But I agree with Nick's statement. I think the actions make the episode better in a way without having so much dialogue.
Yeah, and like we get to see a lot then of like sort of like man like get to learn more about Mando observing how he deals with this like very annoying situation with the Jawas strip his ship for parts and he has to try and solve his problem to get off the planet.
Yeah, like I said, I think we forget because season three and season two of Mandalorian was a lot more linear. Like as Pete said, the story just kept getting driven forward in those seasons. This season, almost every episode is self-contained, and I remember being super confused about that. But I enjoy it because we got to live at just this planet for this episode. You got to see the Jawas. You get to see how Mando deals with the Jawas. You get to see his like almost miss he like he doesn't like droids, he doesn't like Jawas, he like sticks to himself, so it kind of gives you more perspective on how like it's more character building, I would say, for Mando in this episode than anything. But you're right, it doesn't drive the story forward, the narrative forward. So yeah, I actually really loved it. I remember looking back, I was kind of upset that it didn't drive the story forward until I realized that each episode was kind of self-contained for this season at least. So uh, I enjoyed going on the journey through this episode.
Yeah, can I throw out an observation that I had like this is the first like few minutes of this episode, like especially like when he's doing the fighting when he's trying to chase Jawas down. I miss his original weapon, the gun that has the bullets that can disintegrate people. Like that was
Yeah,
so fun seeing that weapon back in play and like watching him basically just like pick off Jawas like he's like shooting womp rats at, like on like a giant like ski speeder. So fun. And like I made to a great laugh later on when Keel's like, the Jawas don't like you, and he's like, that's probably because I disintegrated a few of them like in the process.
yeah, and the Trandoshans too in the beginning. I totally forgot that he had this weapon, so it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, P, I believe the weapon gets destroyed when the Razor Crest blows up in season two. I think it's on the ship when it happens, but I love this weapon. I hope we get more of it. I remember getting more of it as we go through season one.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed it too. When we didn't have it in season three, it was upsetting for me. I
Yeah,
thought it was a great weapon to have.
yeah. Nick, you remember? Did you remember like, how effective this thing was? Like before we
Oh,
re
I didn't remember. I did not remember at all. It's very interesting. This is what's very interesting about going back. I didn't remember. I didn't remember this whatsoever, and this is great. The only thing I really remembered from this episode was the Jawas were annoying, and the end battle against the was it the Mudhorn?
I guess.
I think whatever that thing's called.
Yeah, the
I
Mudhorn.
think it's called the Mudhorn. Yeah, that's like all I remember. So cool that get a little more in here.
All right. Anything else? I also want to throw something out here. Pete, anything you observed from this episode you feel like we should discuss?
I think I already hit the points.
I
Uh,
have something.
sure, Vin.
This might be silly, but why are there different races of Jawas on different planets? How did that happen? That's what I want to know. I didn't notice it in the first watch through, and then I noticed these Jawas wear different robes and they have red eyes. And what are the mechanics of that? Did they interbreed with other Jawas? I don't understand it.
Nick, any theories on this?
I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's fun. I think it's fun though. They're sort of like a regional like sort of dialect, I
Yeah,
guess. Where, like they were brought up in a different environment. Maybe they had to adapt to a different sky or something. That's why their eyes different color.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I didn't think about that, but I just thought it was really interesting.
Any thoughts on Mando trying to chase down the Jawas and like him trying to climb the ship, that action sequence?
I feel like I've watched this, maybe not this exact episode, but this like Mando chasing down the Jawas like 7 times in Star Wars.
Yep.
And I know I have a not because it's the only time, but there's been similar things where I feel like we've seen this 100 times.
Yeah, it's like a train heist.
Yeah.
It's like in Solo when they did the
Yeah.
I can't even think of it. When they did the train heist, yeah.
Oh, if I had one of those too.
Did it? Yeah, I can't remember, but yeah, you're probably right.
It's episode 2. It was like when he was teaching the Tusken Raiders how to like steal the water back.
You know what? I was
Yes.
actually thinking to myself when I'm watching it, I was getting this and that confused. And I'm like, this wasn't from this show, was it? Like, I mean, clearly it was because I'm watching it. And I'm like, well, I feel like I've seen this. I was having deja vu watching it. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, because literally it's the same like creators basically, and like they get the idea of oh, like we're gonna do the train heist scene, except we had this was more fun than like whatever the Boba Fett version was.
Right.
Yeah. A couple other things I'll throw out here. Like we talked about Keel a little bit last week, Pete. Like seeing him get involved, be the intermediary between Mando and the Jawas was fun because like you could tell Mando has like no patience for the scenario whatsoever, and Keel is the perfect sort of like I guess literally even keel guy to sort of like drive the line here where like, like, okay, I can help you solve this problem. You're too hot-headed to get it done yourself. So like you did us a favor, be a favor by clearing out the valley of all the varmint. So I'll help you get your ship so you can get going.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic character. I wish we got more of this character in Mando. I really wish he would have accepted Mando's offer to be part of his crew because I think him in the show would have added so much more um depth, I think, to Mando's character and also the story. But I mean, whenever we can get that character, I'm always on board.
Vin, what did you think about getting to see more Keel this time around? Like, because like obviously he's a big prize early, then he shows up again at the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I was like again on my first watch there, I was hoping he would be in it more. I really liked at the end when he said, he said something to the effect of, I spent my whole life escaping servitude. Now that I have freedom, like I'm not gonna join your crew, but thank you. Like I thought that, like again, we know nothing about this character, but that just told you so much about him and his character, his background, his character, why he is so wise, why is he's had a hard life, he's at peace with himself right now. So I really, I really like bringing him back, and I forgot how much I liked him. So yeah,
Yeah, and Nick, I think one thing you noticed in episode 2 is like the respect that Keel and Mando have for each other really builds, especially like when after Mando goes and fights the Mudhorn, he comes back, he's like surprised that Keel is there waiting for him, didn't just go home.
Yeah, I said it last week, and there's not really much to add to it. He's just a good dude.
Yeah.
There's really not much else to say. He's a good guy.
He's like the perfect like party member if you're doing an NP like a RPG game, you want him in your party.
Yeah. He's loyal, I guess. I mean, I don't know if loyal is the right word, but he's just a good guy.
Incredibly skilled too. I mean, he helps Mando basically rebuild his ship by himself.
Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah, he's the Ron Swanson of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Got a couple of things I'll throw out here. I think did you guys catch this time around as I did like that they were planting the seeds for Grogu force healing early. Because like when Mando gets like nicked up by the Trandoshans, like he's trying to like patch himself up, and you see Grogu come out of the pram and walk over and go make the move to touch his wound and heal him, and Mando basically puts him back in the pram and shuts it. So they were laying the seeds for this early.
Yeah. Now, when didn't the episode like come out? Not this one, but one of them like right before the Rise of Skywalker,
There was
Yep.
yeah later in the season they move an episode up 2 days off the Friday release date so they could get the idea of force healing in people's minds.
and they
Yep.
did yeah, they put the force healing in, and then it was in the movie just so people wouldn't freak out in the movie.
Yeah, they moved it up. Well, I think it's episode 7. We'll get to it in a few weeks. They moved the episode up because they were dropping on Fridays, and then they said, "Oh, this week is on a Wednesday for no particular reason." And then once you see the movie, you're like, "Oh, that's the reason."
Yeah, I remember that specifically when I watched Rise of Skywalker. I was like, this is the most obvious. They wanted us. They were easing us into this.
Yeah,
So what was the Rise of Skywalker release date? Do you remember?
it was
December 20th, 2019. I just looked it up.
because it came out on a Friday, and the episode was on supposed to be on a Friday. They moved it up to a Wednesday for that week only.
Here we go. We have December 13th was an episode,
Yeah,
and then the next one was the 18th. There you go.
yeah. So they moved it up
Yeah,
two.
that's back when they used to do the stupid Friday releases, and even dumber, they did them at 3 o'clock in the morning Eastern time.
Yeah,
Yep.
And we used to get up before work and watch the episodes, or stay off social media all day to avoid seeing what happened. That was ridiculous.
yeah, yeah. So like they did lay the groundwork for that because they and then they show you at the end of the episode that Grogu can use the Force when he gets to the Mudhorn. But before we get there, Pete, Jawa negotiation strategy I think is very interesting because they like when Keel's trying to moderate this thing and says, okay, like let's make a deal with the Jawas. Like let's try and like make a trade to get your stuff back. The first demand is, okay, we want the Beskar. And then he's like, no, this can't happen. Like best like he's a Mandalorian. Beskar is part of his religion. Then we go to we want Grogu. And then that's obviously a no-go. And then the third thing is the egg, or as the Jawas are screaming, Shuga. So he went from basically Beskar to a living being to a egg full of honey. That's a very peculiar strategy for the Jawas.
It definitely added a little bit of comic relief to the episode. I think it cheapens the episode a little bit personally. Like I said, I've been trying to watch this show like I would any season one of a show that we would start on this podcast. And you're like, you sit there and like, man, like this is they're gonna go fight something for an egg. You know, like it's just like really like if all the things you like you said, go from Beskar to the child to like, yeah, just grab me an egg and we're good. So I chuckled at it, I enjoyed it. The episode as a whole was still a great episode, but yeah, one of those things where it's like you couldn't have figured something else out like that would make more sense that why the Jawas would want it. So it like I said, cheapened it a little bit for me.
I look at it more, Nick, as sort of like the Jawas sort of said, okay, like we can't, like we're too tiny to go deal with this Mudhorn and get the egg ourselves. So let's just send the big strong guy with the armor, let him get the egg for us.
Yeah, no, I don't have much to add. Yeah, honestly.
I know Vin loved the eggs sequence.
Yeah, I just thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny that at the end they just wanted it to eat it. And it was insane. I actually kind of felt bad for the Mudhorn, like that it just died because some group of Jawas wanted their egg. So it's kind of messed up, but I loved it. I loved that it was just the absurdity of they just kept screaming egg, 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 and it literally was just an egg. There was nothing special about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jawa, the Jawa language, they were calling it Shuga, Shuga, Shuga. So it's like, oh,
Suga.
sure.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So basically, like, as they open the egg, it basically looks like honey they're pulling out of the egg.
That's true.
Yeah.
Poor baby mud.
Yeah. Any thoughts on the fight with the Mudhorn, which is the inspiration for Mando's sigil he gets later on? But like, this is a fun sequence, here, especially when you get to see Grogu use the Force for the first time.
Yeah, this is the third of the species we've ever seen
Yep.
outside of Yoda and Yaddle. And at that point, both of them were Force users, obviously, both on the council. And I guess we should have assumed it, but we didn't know right away that this was going to be a Force sensitive being.
Yeah.
So when this happened, we were like, oh, he can use the Force. We all kind of figured, I think, but we didn't know for sure. And then we knew for sure, and we kind of realized, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's why the Empire's after him.
Yeah.
So very, at least in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, we're in a world here in the timeline where we're past the fall of the Empire.
Yes.
Now, of course, there's still remnants and whatnot, but I'm thinking, why do they care about Jedi now? Like you lost. Like shouldn't you be more concerned about about coming together with the remnants that you have and buildings? And then why do you care? So like obviously the reason was cloning, but we didn't know that at the time. So at the time, I'm thinking, why are they doing this? Why do they care about Jedi? And then we eventually get that answer, of course, but I didn't know that then.
Yeah, PA thoughts on the actual Mudhorn fight because this is probably, I think, like the second big action piece again in the episode. And I thought, like, very well executed, especially like when you see like him go in the cave by himself and just get flung out like that, it gives you a great idea of how tough this thing is.
Yeah, yeah, I think it was great. I think this was another one of those fight scenes that I wish we got more of in later seasons of Mando. It's entertaining. You get you can grasp the gravity of the situation and how strong this beast is compared to this guy in some Beskar armor, right? So it's definitely powerful. It's to me I mean, probably for everyone here, probably the more fun part of the episode, and it kind of goes by quickly because you're so invested in it. But yeah, super good fight scene, and honestly, I love that Mudhorn. It's cool.
Yeah, Vin, like, what do you think about the Mudhorn fight?
I thought it was a great way to showcase Grogu's, well, the child for now, but Grogu's powers, his force powers, and he's force sensitive. Um, and also, you know, it was a pretty, like I said, like Pete said, it was the most action packed part of the episode. So I enjoyed it. It pushed the story forward. It showed how powerful this child is. So it was overall really enjoyed this.
Yeah, do wonder, Nick, like if like when they're making the show, when they do this fight sequence, this is in the back of their minds, you get to season two and they have Mando and Cobb Vanth fighting the Crate Dragon. I wonder if they said this was so cool, we should try and do it on a bigger scale.
Oh, I bet you they did because it reminds me so much of it. It's very similar.
Yeah, and we're getting to that in January, the Crate Dragon.
Yeah, I'm excited for season two. Um, it was obviously a great season, but no, I think this mirrors it really, really well. Again, I was having deja vu watching this, thinking, is this the? Oh yeah, like I'm stopping myself, like, oh yeah, that's from season two. Like I was thinking in my head for a second, like, wait, this seems too familiar.
Yeah, I do like that. Like I'm looking forward to that, seeing if they do manage to sort of keep it up, like and see like what inspirations are drawn between the two fights. So I think that's gonna be a fun setup here. Anything else on the episode before we sort of wrap up here and sort of give out our hardware for the week?
Um, I think that if this show came out now, we'd appreciate it more than when it came out then.
Yeah.
In that the pacing is very slow, and I feel like back then we were all just like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like if you were a big Star Wars fan back in 2019, people were like, oh, you watched that Mandalorian show yet? You'd be like, yeah, it's fine. Like you wouldn't think up to this point at least these two episodes, like you wouldn't be like, yeah, I love it, it's so good, and you wouldn't be like, no, it sucks. You'd be like, yeah, it's whatever. But if it came out now, I think we'd be much more excited about it because we now that we've been familiar with what they do with Star Wars television, we would know that it's leading somewhere. And back then we didn't know. We just thought it might have, like I said last week, I thought it was very weekly, episodic, almost like a buddy cop
Adventure of the week.
thing with with Grogu and Din, just buddy cop, like solving mysteries and crimes throughout the galaxy. I was like, okay, yeah, it's fine. But now that I know that it's going to lead somewhere, if I had known back then it's going to lead somewhere, I think I would have appreciated it more.
I think one thing for sure, the first two episodes I noticed, Pete, is that like the pacing is definitely more deliberate here, which is sort of like what we like with like early Andor, where like they weren't just like shoving everything down your throat. They give you a chance to sort of soak in the environment, the characters, or in this case, character, and like sort of get the vibe of like the world they're in. Whereas like other shows had issues where they're trying to throw too much at you too fast and throwing like 6 pounds of spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks.
Yeah, I mean, I think they threw a lot of us at episode one, and I think this slows it down a little bit, and that's why I think I get a little bit critical of it because I feel like could have stretched this into two, three episodes. The first episode and second episode could have been a little longer. But I think it's a little bit different from Andor. I think Andor every episode mattered. I don't think there was much filler. To me, this was a little bit of filler. So I wouldn't do a comparison like that. However, I do understand the comparison of world building and letting you sit and kind of understand the characters and see where they're coming from. So yeah, I agree with that part at least.
Yeah, so as you can see as the season goes on, and a couple of other notes before we get to our credits here. This episode was directed by Rick Famuyiwa, who does a couple episodes of Mandalorian later on. And the first episode came out day one, Disney Plus on November 12th. This one comes out 3 days later, November 15th. So this is the first Friday drop of Mandalorian, Nick.
Oh, okay. So this was how many days later? 15 or 10
3 days
days?
later. 3 days later. We went
Oh,
two.
okay. So it came out pretty much right away.
It was basically a two-part premiere, basically one on Tuesday and one on
Yeah.
Friday. And then you set the schedule on Friday.
Okay.
Because like this is sort of like they remind, okay, now every Friday you're getting the Mandalorian. That was sort of the expectation.
Yeah, which I mean, I don't think I don't think they could have possibly picked a worse time to release it, except Saturday, same time.
Like I just don't know why they didn't just stick to Tuesdays, Vin, because like the service came out on a Tuesday. Like I guess maybe you're thinking, okay, but the weekend people are gonna like be like watching it over the weekend, but like I feel like Tuesday would have been so much better if they just committed to the bit and just like left it on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think they just if you were, I mean, I might be wrong about this, but this was like the first real weekly streaming show that everyone was watching. I feel like for the most part, streaming was Netflix. It all came out all at once. So they probably were still figuring it out. Maybe they thought everyone's home on Friday, so everyone's going to watch it. But I mean, everyone watches everything now. You know what I mean? Like I'll watch something on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, whatever. So I agree with you now in hindsight, but they probably had no idea what to expect in the beginning.
Yeah, Nick, it takes till what? Like, is it Obi-Wan that they break this pattern? Is it like
I think it was Ahsoka.
I know Ahsoka is the when they stopped at 3 a.m. I don't know if they went off a Friday yet.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The 3 a.m. thing. You're talking about the Friday thing?
Yeah, because the Friday thing was annoying for a while.
I don't remember when the Friday thing stopped, to be honest with you, but I know Andor season one was not Fridays.
Yeah.
I know Obi-Wan was all messed up. I remember the first episode dropped on like the first three dropped like Friday of Memorial Day or something.
Yeah, they did the whole thing where they gave you the surprise drop because they did it at Celebration. Then they dropped it immediately afterwards.
Yeah, I'll look into that one. But I think Vin makes an excellent point. I'm pretty sure he's right. This was the first weekly streaming show.
Yeah.
I think it was. And so let's say May 27th, June 1st, June 8th. I just don't know what day of the week those are.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick
The
look.
8th of 2022 was a Tuesday. So Obi-Wan was a Tuesday.
So Obi-Wan's the one that breaks it, basically. Because I don't
So I mean, I don't know if one before it was, but
Boba was Fridays. I remember this very well.
was Bobo the one before Obi-Wan?
Yes, it was.
And there you go. So Obi-Wan was the one that broke it.
It took them,
Uh,
it took them 2 years to figure that out.
but yeah, I think this show was the first weekly or streaming show that was weekly, and I think they kind of won that war with the war being Netflix release of all at once versus Disney release of weekly. I think they kind of won that. Well, both of them have kind of bended if you think about it,
Yeah.
because Andor switched to that like three at a time model. But now look at like Stranger Things and even Squid Game, how they pretended there were three seasons of Squid Game when everyone knows there were two.
Yeah.
And Stranger Things is getting released over three separate releases in the fall and winter coming up. So it's almost like they both bent and they found a happy medium in that it's the binge model or being able to binge something helps people and not just having one at a time, but also not throwing everything out at once and letting it digest in people's minds, especially before a finale. Like imagine Stranger Things just dropped all at once on Thanksgiving Eve and that was it and it was over. And there was no anticipation for the finale of like the finale of Stranger Things is this weekend, or this week. Everyone get ready to watch it. I know it's. I know they. I mean, what they chose to do blows my mind too. That it's on New Year's Eve, but
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point though, Pete,
or Christmas Eve, whatever it is. I don't remember.
at a certain point though, Pete, isn't that just cable under a new name?
Pretty much.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, this is
I, I mean, like Vin was saying, like you can watch it whenever the hell you want. I mean, there's never like you never sit there and go like, oh, if it's releasing on this, like I'm not gonna watch it now because it's releasing on Christmas Eve. It's like no, just watch it like 3 days later. You know, like it. I don't think it. It's like personalized cable. You can watch it when you want on demand. It's on demand
Like
cable.
it's like cable, but everything's automatically recorded.
yeah, and you have a set schedule when some stuff comes out. So if you want to watch it on the weekly, you can.
I think that's perfect because I think that there is nothing more fun than like um the idea of knowing I'm watching the finale and so is everyone else. For example, I mean, I don't like to speak about it because of the quality, but the finale of Game of Thrones when it was on,
Yeah,
that was an event. Like everyone was in front of their TVs. You planned your weekend around it. It was the final episode or final season, really, but like of Game of Thrones that you waited all these 8, 9 years for. And it was an event, and when you knew when you were watching it, you had that feeling. So is everyone else right now. There's millions of people watching at the same time I am, and that's not nothing. Like that means something.
I think Vin. The only thing that really does that now is like whatever the big show on the HBO Sunday at 9 slot is. Whether it like I know people with White Lotus were big into that. Last of Us season one, whether it was Succession, like people would just like be like, okay, this is like I have to be on this live, or else I'm gonna get like spoiled and miss out.
yeah, HBO does it right still. It's I look forward like the community discussion. When like White Lotus, everyone was in on White Lotus. I agree with Nick. Like there was something special about Game of Thrones, like the community that came around that. So, yeah, I think HBO still does it right. I think the problem is not like the Star Wars like shows aren't mainstream enough for everyone to come. Besides us, right? Like we'll talk about it, but like it's not mainstream enough for everyone to discuss it. So yeah, I honestly think I agree with you, Mike. I think this is turning into cable in a sense where they're bundling streaming services just like cable bundles channels. And you have to buy multiple streaming services, and it's just as expensive as cable now. So we're just and so now a lot of uh, services have ads, so we're heading backwards.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, two other things I'll throw out here in terms of like this show I forgot to mention last week that Andor I thought was the first like primetime drama, like best drama show nominated from Star Wars. I was incorrect on that. Both seasons of Mandalorian 1 and 2 both were nominated for best drama at the Emmy Awards, which is
That's interesting.
something I had forgotten about because in 2020 I get because there was such a limited fare coming out with the COVID stuff, but this one surprised me that this one was a best drama nominee. It did not win, obviously, but it
Yeah.
it did get in there, and that. Go ahead.
And this is Vin's absolutely correct by saying that Star Wars is just not mainstream enough to make it an event. 'Cause put it this way, Andor is like the best show I've ever seen,
Yeah,
and almost no one I know has seen it or heard of it
I mean,
outside of Star Wars fans, of course.
it cracked the zeitgeist though. Andor people were talking about in the general people were talking
Like
about.
people that I know who don't know Star Wars, like family and friends, whatever, none of them have even heard of it.
Yeah,
But when you talk to me about it, it's like the most excited. It's like the best. Like to me, it was like the best show I've ever seen.
yeah.
So there you go.
And this show was up like if they had had this model, I think this could have been even bigger if we had like the prime time 9 o'clock on Tuesday release. I think we could have had a huge success with this, even bigger than it was back then.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I think if we had the current release model where it's like, here's the episode Tuesday at 9, Mandalorian season one, what
You
happened?
mean Fernando?
Yeah, for Mando 1, if we had this current model of like the weekly Tuesday prime time release, I think this would have been even bigger than it was back then.
Yeah, and I think that this show weekly release was great for season one of Mandalorian because you get that drop in the episode one of there's a baby Yoda. Then you get the drop in episode 2 that he uses the Force,
Yeah.
and it slowly but surely builds up where there's like a big reveal. Not every episode, but like there's a couple of big reveals throughout the season where it makes its way on the internet. People see it, and there's memes about it, and then everyone wants to tune in the next time.
Yep.
And it lets the streaming service, Disney Plus at the time, brand new, build up.
Yep. Certainly does here. And let's get to our MVP board for the show so far. We are doing a season one Civic MVP board. So this is where we stand after last week. Mando swept the MVPs. He went +3 for the week. We had 3 different LVPs. I believe Pete, you had Dr. Pershing last week, correct? Was that Nick?
I had Pershing, yeah.
It was not me. I think I had,
My thrall.
yeah,
I gave IG-11 his LVP for basically walking into that like saloon with no plan of how to get the kid out.
yes.
And then getting his brains blown out by Mando at the end of the episode. All right, so that's the board right now. We're going to start here. MVP of the week, Vin. Who is the most valuable character this week?
I don't know Kuiil, Nick Nolte's character, Kuiil.
Heel.
Kuiil,
Yeah.
for sure. He's wise. He's sure of himself. He's helpful. He's just well-rounded character. So MVP here.
Yeah, I'm giving it to Keel as well because, I mean, Mando's not getting off that planet without Keel, like, getting him a deal with the Jawas because, like, Mando was going to just try and blow their brains out and basically have no luck. And Keel got the deal done. So, Pete, who's your MVP?
Yeah, I'm on the same boat as you guys. Keel for sure. Runs that whole episode.
Nick?
Grogu.
That's a good shout because if Grogu doesn't use the Force, Mando dies at the hand of the Mudhorn.
Yeah. Saved the day.
All right, so LVP section here. I'm gonna start out here with the Jawas getting my LVP because they get mowed down, like 3 of them get mowed down by Mando pretty easily, and then their negotiation strategy was terrible, where they're going from Beskar to a baby to an egg. There's no strategy whatsoever to what they're trying to get for all these ship parts. So LVP to them, Pete.
Um, oh, jeez. I thought about the MVP. I'm going to think of the LVP. I think I have to give it to the Jawas as well, just because of what you said. I feel like everyone else is pretty strong. I don't think anyone did anything like bad except for them, like bad negotiating. So I'll give it to the Jawas as well.
Nick?
Yeah, it's gonna go to the Jawas for me.
Yeah. Vin, is it a sweep on the Jawas?
It's a sweep on the Jawas. The Jawas are LVP this week. They just sucked.
Yeah. They were funny, but they sucked.
Yeah, I was watching it with my son actually, and he said, "Daddy, are the Jawas bad?" And I said, "No, they're just annoying." So he got that
They're just idiots.
exactly.
All right. So now we're going to grade the episode on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is worse than the 1978 holiday special. 10 is up there with the Gorman Massacre from Andor in terms of the pinnacle of live action Star Wars content. Pete, give us your grade this week.
I'm giving it a 6. It's pretty low for Mando's standards. I think that it was an entertaining episode. I don't think it was a bad episode. However, if I was watching this, like I had mentioned earlier, as like a first season of Acolyte or a first season of Book of Boba or Obi-Wan, this to me is we get this huge pop of like the child, and then all that we really get in this episode is that it can use the Force. Still super important, but the whole episode seemed just very filler to just get to that point. So a little disappointing. So that's why I give it a 6.
Nick?
So before we came on, I thought I was gonna give it a 7,
Yes.
but I think I'm gonna give it an 8.
Okay.
And the reason why is, although it doesn't have a lot of action and it is pretty fillery, as Pete has said, I think it's made really well.
Yeah.
They did a really good job making the episode. When you go back and watch it, it's like the effects are incredible. Like it, it's cool if that makes sense, and like it's the tone and the pacing of it is like slow and I don't want to say boring, but like monotone, dull on purpose, and I think it makes the episode like show off how well it was made. If that makes sense. It's almost like I'm saying that it was boring on purpose.
It's
Cinematography.
deliberate.
Yeah, that's why I feel like it was actually better on the rewatch than it was the first time because it's yeah,
I just
deliberate.
I think that one shot of like Mando and Grogu basically walking on the sand dune with the moon in the background, like that, like really cool shots like that throughout the episode were fantastic. So, Vin, I'll give you your grade next.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 7, right in the middle of Nick and Pete. Really enjoyed the episode. Obviously, have some I have some hindsight because we finished the season. But really well made, self-contained. Character, I would say less story development, more character development in this story. And it really shows off. Um, yeah, it really shows off the Mando skills. It shows off uh, Grogu's force powers, and I really enjoy Kuiil. So definitely overall 7 for me.
I'm going 6.5 just to get four different grades just for the fun of it. But I will also say here, as Nick says in the past year, this is not school. 6.5 is not failing. 5 is average. This is a above average episode, but it is not a fantastic episode. That's the way I view it here. Like, did I have fun watching it? Yes. Is the first episode I recommend to somebody who watches this show? No. So 6.5 is where it falls for me.
It's fair.
It's fair.
All right, so that's it for this week. Next week, we're going to chapter 3, The Sin, which is we get our big confrontation. We get the Mandalorian going to collect on his bounty. And this really sets up the dynamic of the show, sort of going forward, Pete, is like after this episode.
I agree. Yeah, this is definitely the turning point.
Yeah. And we all have fun here. Vin, thanks for coming on and joining us. It's always fun to catch up on with you and the Mandoverse.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always enjoy talking to you guys.
All right. Pete, people want to follow you on social media. How can I do that?
At Consi29 on Twitter, CONSY29. AP Tower 308 posted this background on Reddit, so make sure you check them out.
Nick, one more time. People want to follow us on social media. How can I do that?
At Sky Guys Podcast all over the World Wide Web.
You can also follow me on social media at mphillips331. It's MPHILLIPS 331. Busy going on the Just and the Suffering podcast. Getting ready for training camps. Camps are opening, starting to get ready for football mode. And we're going to be getting into soon, Nick. I don't know if you're planning to watch this movie. We're going to be getting into Happy Gilmore 2 is coming on Netflix. So I'm excited about that.
I am probably going to watch it. Going to the Yankee game on Friday night, and that's when it comes out. So maybe I will not have time, but if not, I'll probably watch it on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely a fun time for sure. We'll be back next week with chapter 3 of The Mandalorian. We'll talk about that next week. Until then, may the force be with you.